And so let's begin.
Anthony, we're skipping you at the moment. You're first on the screen.
I can read. I'll read. Thank you. Chapter 2, Shared Vision. Outward seeking is turning inward. Inward or internal discoveries are turning outward. This is a polar reversal that is happening worldwide. Externally as well as internally. It is happening. It is not predictive. I have never been and will never be predictive, for I am Christ consciousness. Christ consciousness is awareness of what is. Only an awareness of what is, an awareness that does not conceive of such as what was and will be, can peacefully coexist with the unity that is here and now in truth. Again, let me repeat and re-emphasize my statements. Where once you turned outward in your seeking and saw within what you perceived without, now you turn inward and reflect what you discover within outward. What you discover within is in a way that you perceive without is not.
That's pretty loaded as it is, isn't it?
I've always been a proponent of the way of Christ consciousness as the way of self and God. I'll let somebody else read now.
Okay. Next on the pictures. There was no way or path or process back to God and self before me. I don't know about that. What?
Say it again.
There was no way or path or process back to God and self before me.
There was no awareness.
I'm not buying that one. It was the time of man wandering in the wilderness. It came as a representation or demonstration of the way. This is why I have been called the way, the truth and the light. I came to show the way to Christ consciousness, which is the way to God and self. But I also came to provide an intermediary, for this is what was desired, a bridge between the human or forgotten self and the divine or remembered self. Jesus the man was an intermediary who ushered in the time of the Holy Spirit by calling the Holy Spirit to possess the human or forgotten self with the spirit of the divine or remembered self. Although God never abandoned the humans who seeded the earth, the humans in the state of the forgotten self. Hang on a minute. Let me do that again. Although God never abandoned the humans who seeded the earth, the humans in the state of the forgotten self could not know God because of their fear. I revealed a God of love, and the Holy Spirit provided for the indirect and less fearful means of communion or communication with God. The people of the earth, as well as all that was created, have always been the beloved of God, because love was and is the means of creation. The people of earth, as well as all that was created, were created through union and relationship. Creation through union and relationship is still the way, and the way has come into the time of its fullness. The production that has so long occupied you now will serve you as you turn your productive and reproductive instincts to the production and reproduction of the relationship and union. Twister. Ruben, you're next. If you'd like to read.
Yes. But before we can proceed forward, I must return to and dispel any illusion you may have of superiority over those who came before. That those who came before did not become aware of their true nature does not mean that it did not exist, that there are others living among you in this time who will not become aware of their true nature does not mean that it does not exist within them. You are no more accomplished than anyone has been or is or will be. The truth of who you are is as accomplished as the truth of all your brothers and sisters from the beginning of time until the end of time. Any text that tells you that you or those of your kind or time are more or better than any other is not speaking the truth. This is why we began with the chosen and will return again and again to the statement that all are chosen. I belabor this point because you literally cannot proceed to full awareness while ideas such as more and better remain in you. As I have said before, this is not about evolution unless you wish to speak of evolution in terms of awareness. You must realize that if you were to see into the eyes and hearts of any human from any time with true vision, you will see the accomplished self there. There can be no judgment carried forward with you, and when you continue to believe in a process of evolution that has made you better than those who came before, you are carrying judgment. While you continue to believe that being chosen means that some are not chosen, you are carrying judgment. While you continue to believe that a final judgment will separate the good from the evil, you are carrying judgment. I'm complete. Thank you.
Thanks, Ruben. Isabella, we're up to chapter 2, shared vision in the fourth treatise, and we're on to 2.9, looks like.
9.
2.9. And Chantel, you're next if you'd like to read.
I wonder what reliable means.
What does it mean?
I also belabor this point because those of you familiar with the Bible, upon hearing words such as the end of time or the fullness of time, think of the predictions of the biblical end of time. I speak of this because it is in your awareness and because many false interpretations of this time as a time of judgment and of separating the chosen people from all others abound. All are chosen with love and without judgment. The idea of separation is an idea that is not consistent with the idea of unity. If you proceed into this new time thinking that this new time will separate you from others or cause you, as the chosen, to be separate, you will not become fully aware of the new time. Full awareness of the new is what this treatise seeks to accomplish. And so it is necessary to belabor these false ideas that would keep you from this awareness. If you think you can observe in judgment, you do not understand the definition of observation provided in a treatise on the personal self. Being first does not mean being better. That I was the first to demonstrate what you can be does not mean I am better than you. Just as in your sporting events, a new record replaces that record setting first. Just as someone had to be first to fly a plane or land on the moon. Being first implies only that there will be a second and a third. That attention and respect is given to those who first achieve anything of merit is but a way of calling all others to know what they can achieve. One may desire to best a sporting record and another to follow the first man into space. And the one who desires to best a sporting record may feel no desire to follow the first man into space and vice versa. And yet, what one achieves but opens the door for others, and this is known to you. Even those who did not desire to fly in a plane when this feat was first accomplished have since flown in planes.
Alston, you are chosen next.
I'm chosen. Oh. Am I the chosen?
You're the chosen one, yes.
Hey. Similarly, those who have achieved first place do so realizing that the elevated place they briefly hold is of a finite nature, that others will soon do the same, and that those who follow in time will do so more easily, with less effort, and with even greater success. They may consider themselves better than for a moment in time, but those who do will be bitterly disappointed as their moment passes. Despite the necessity for a confidence that has led them to achieve their desired end, Most who so achieve and become the first to set records, discover, or invent the new are not aware of themselves as better than, or their goal was not to be better than anyone but themselves. Surely many desire to be the best as a means to glorify the ego, but few of these succeed, for the ego cannot be glorified.
This is pretty interesting as it's the Olympic Games time and everyone's the best, or some are better than others.
Yeah, the ones that come first are the best. Yep.
Yeah.
First. Yeah. First the worst.
Thus you must examine your intention even now and remove from it all ideas that were of the old way. You would not be here if you were still interested in glorifying the ego, but you also are not yet completely certain of yourself, and in your uncertainty, still subject to the patterns of in your uncertainty, still subject to the patterns of thought of the old. Many of these patterns do not concern me, for they will fall away of themselves as your awareness of new grows. But these few that I linger on will prevent your awareness of the new from growing, and so must be consciously left behind. It is difficult for you, because of the patterns of the past, to believe that you are chosen to be the pioneers into a new time without believing that you are special. This is one of the many reasons we have worked to dispel your ideas of specialness. One of the best means for us to clarify the lack of specialness implied in the statement that all are chosen is through your observation of yourself. Thank you. I am complete.
That cues you in, Kim.
Me? The ability to observe what the self expresses was among the original reasons for this chosen experience. Observe now the expressions of the self you are and have been. Although you are different now than you were as a child, and different now than you were a few years ago, and different now than when you began your learning of this course, you are not other than whom you have always been. Who you are now was there when you were a child, and there in all the years since then, and there before you began your learning of this course. Your awareness of the self that you are now was not present in the past. But you can truly now, with the devotion of the observant, see that the self you are now was indeed present, and the truth of who you were always. How then could you possibly observe any others without knowing that the truth of who they are is present, even though it might seem not to be? This is the power of the devotion of the observant that you are called to, the power of cause and its effect. This is the power you now have within you, the power to observe the truth rather than illusion. This is the power to observe what is. This is Christ consciousness. Mm.
Can you complete, Kim?
Yes, always.
Andrew and Kath, you're next on the
Sure.
picture.
Do you want to go first?
I repeat, this is the power to observe what is. It is not about observing a potential for what could be if your brother or sister would just follow in the way that has been shown to you. It is about observing what is. The power to observe what is what you will keep you unified with your brothers and sisters, rather than separating you from them. There is no power without this unity. You cannot see others as other than who they are and know your power. You must see as I see and see that all are chosen. Only from this shared vision, this observation of what is, can you begin to produce unity and relationship through unity and relationship. This is why it has been long stated that you are not called to evangelize or convince anyone of the merits of this course of study. This is just a course of study. Those whom you would seek to evangelize or convince are as holy as yourself. This holiness need only be observed. When you think in terms of evangelizing or convincing, you think in terms of future outcome rather than in terms of what it already is. This type of thinking will not serve the new or allow you full awareness of the new.
You complete?
Mm-hmm.
Can you remember this, blessed sons and daughters of the Most High? Your brothers and sisters are as holy as yourself. Holiness is the natural harmony of all that was created as it was created. Now I tell you something else, and hope you will remember it and bid it true. Each day is a creation and holy too. Not one day is meant to be lived within a struggle with what it brings. The power to observe what is relates to everything that exists with you, including the days that make up your life in time and space. Observing what is unites you with the present in that it unites you with what is rather than with what you perceive to be.
Mm.
I'll do one more. Observation of what is a natural effect of the cause of a heart and mind joined in unity. This first joining in unity, the joining of heart and mind, joins the physical and the spiritual world in a relationship of which you can be more and more steadily aware. It is a new relationship. Unity always existed. Oneness always existed. God always existed. But you separated yourself from direct awareness of your relationship with unity, with oneness, and with God, just as you have separated yourself from relationship with the wholeness of the pattern of creation. You have believed in God and perhaps in some concept of unity or oneness, but you have also denied even the possibility of experiencing your own direct relationship with God, or the possibility that your life is a direct experience of the pattern of unity or oneness that is creation.
Thanks, Andrew. Cole, you're next.
Think of this denial now, for it is still evident in the pattern of your thinking. We have spoken of this in the text of the Course of Love as your inability to realize the relationship that exists with the unseen and even the seen. You have moved through life believing you have relationships with family and friends and co-workers, occasionally acknowledging brief relationships that develop with acquaintances or strangers, connections that feel real with like-minded associates for brief periods of time, but still essentially seeing yourself moving through life alone with few sustaining connections, save for special relationships with little purpose implied in brief encounters you have with others. You have watched the news and developments in parts of the world far away from you, and at times are aware of ecological and sociological connections or of other occurrences that are likely to have no impact on your life or
Have an impact.
thank you, that are likely to have an impact on your life or on your part of the world, But unless you believe in the ability for what happens to have an effect on you, you do not consider yourself to have a relationship with the occurrence. With your new understanding of observance must come a new understanding of a relationship and the ability of the devotion of the observant to affect those relationships. Done.
Annie, are you reading today?
Sure. We're on 225, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yet we have strayed here from the overriding point of what I have revealed to you. A new relationship now exists between the physical and spiritual. It is not an indirect relationship, but a direct relationship. It exists, and you are becoming aware of its existence. You will increasingly be unable to deny it, and you will not want to. As you allow awareness of this relationship to grow in you, you will learn the lessons that are being spoken of within this treatise. This new relationship is the only state in which observation of what is can occur. The separated state was nothing more than the disjoining of heart and mind, a state in which mind attempted to know without the relationship of the heart, and so merely perceived its own creations rather than the creation birthed in unity. Let this idea gestate a moment within you and reveal to you the truth of which it speaks. The separated state of the mind created its own separate world. Cause and effect are one. The perceived state of separation created the perceived state of a separate world. The real state of union returned to you through the joining of mind and heart will now reveal to you the truth of what was created and allow you to create anew. I'll stop there.
Okay, thanks. Ian, we've just joined us. We're up to chapter 2, Shared Vision, and we're on 2.9?
28.
2.8.
2.28. Next, Isabella, are you reading today?
Sorry, I don't have the book yet.
That's all right. Ian, you don't normally read. Would you like to read today? Okay, and it's back to Anthony. Would you like to read this time?
Yeah, sure. This state of union is what I feel really sad.
Don't rush it, hey?
Oh,
Beautiful.
sort of stuck back in separation. I'll just read. This state of union is what differentiated me from my brothers and sisters at the time of my life on earth. Because my state of consciousness, a state of consciousness we are calling Christ consciousness, allowed me to exist in union and relationship with all, I could see my brothers and sisters in Christ or in their true nature. I saw them in union and relationship. Where they saw themselves in separation. This ability to see in union and relationship is the shared vision to which you are called. You have lived with the vision of the separated self for so long, you cannot imagine what shared vision will mean. And do not yet recognize it when you experience it. This is why you can still think of observance of what is as a game of make-believe, and that feel that you have to trick yourself into believing that you see love where there is cause for fear. You must remember that you are now called to see without judgment. To see without judgment is to see truly. You need not look for good or bad, but only need to be steadily aware that you can only see in one, two ways, with love or fear. Really getting me today.
Beautiful.
Oh.
Yeah, I feel like something the cat dragged in today, so I don't know. Not doing that well myself. Let's see. I'd like to skip my reading. Chantal, do you want to?
Where are we?
Point 3.
2.3 up.
3. Oh, thank you. You expect yourself to still see with the eyes of separation rather than with the shared vision of which I speak. You expect to see bodies and events moving through your days as you have in the past. And yet, your vision has already changed, although you are not aware of the extent of this change. Realize now that you have come to recognize unity. You do not any longer see each person and event as separate, with no relation to the whole. You are beginning to see the connections that exist, and this is the beginning. Examine what you may have felt the onset of true vision would mean. Have you considered this question? Have you expected to see in the same way, but more lovingly? Have you thought you might begin to recognize those who, like you, are joined with me in Christ consciousness? Have you suspected that you might see in ways literally different? That you might see auras or halos, signs and clues previously unseen? Have you included other senses in your idea of sight? Have you thought your instincts will be sharpened and that you will know with an inner knowing that will aid the sight of your eyes?
Yeah.
All of these things are possible, but true vision is seeing relationship and union. It is the opposite of seeing with the eyes and the attitude of separation. It is seeing with an expectation first and foremost of revelation. It is seeing with an expectation first and foremost of revelation. It is believing that you exist in relationship and union with all, and that each encounter is one of union and relationship and purpose. Purpose that will be revealed to you because you exist in union with the source and cause of revelation.
You might as well finish it off, Chantal.
Sorry?
You might as well finish it off. It's in the last paragraph.
Yeah. Seeing with the vision of Christ consciousness is already upon you. You are in the process of learning what it means. This treatise is here to help you do so. Learning to see anew is the precursor of learning to create anew. Creating anew is the precursor of the coming of the new world.
Oh.
Remember, only from a shared vision of what is can you begin to produce unity and relationship through unity and relationship. This is your purpose now, and this, the curriculum to guide you to the fulfillment of your purpose.
Amazing.
Mm.
I'd read that again in the car.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
This makes me think of how I think in the past it was easier to write people off that you didn't agree with or didn't like to be with. Kind of a they're them and I'll just stay away. And now it's like you can't do that anymore. There's this feeling like, no, there's a connection. You can't just write people off.
Mm. Yes. Mm. Mm. You guys good to dive into the next chapter, which
No,
counts the previous one.
there's way too much in this one for me. I don't think I want to go. This is huge, this one.
Oh, it's very big, for
Yeah.
sure.
Is it a short chapter though? If it's a short chapter, maybe. Oh yeah, it's quite short.
It's short, and it just continues it in the same way, defining a little bit the differences between the vision and observation. It's got really nice little distinctions in the slight energetic difference. But if you want to talk about anything from the before, it is very big.
I suppose, he talks about the connection between the physical and spiritual.
Mm.
And immediately my mind wants to go to creating meaning, what that means, I can't possibly know from an intellectual viewpoint.
Mm.
Like just the fact I've had an ear infection this week, and I keep thinking, surely my physical state is going to get better the more of this the longer I'm involved in this, but it doesn't. I don't know how. I just don't know how this works.
Mm-hmm.
It's no point puzzling over it.
Mm.
I just feel like I want to just be still and receive what he's offering somehow without trying to make meaning out of it, of my own. It's a big chapter.
Yes.
But we can go on if you want. I just had an initial reaction of, oh, it's too much.
Alison, I feel with you, I usually have one chapter is usually plenty for me.
Yeah.
Then it just becomes this, oh, just go. But one is, for me, it's also, I feel there's so much there.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's true.
What to say?
I'm just a sucker for intensity, so yeah.
We've got to head off now, so we'll say goodbye.
Lovely to see you guys.
Thanks.
Nice to see you.
Thank you.
So maybe that feeling of uncomfortableness with this, or it means we've made some progress. We realize there's something more, a new way, visioning a new way, or otherwise we just go on the way you always did before and be happy with it.
Mm.
Becoming aware of how much resistance I have to the unity, like I just, it's horrible. Yeah.
Mm. And how much resistance you have towards that resistance.
Yeah, I look ahead at this chapter and see all these wows and all this stuff and see it as a natural, like in music, taking it from dissonance to a natural, like I can read it on my own, but sometimes too, just not reading the book, just shutting my eyes and listening, is also helpful. To not try and figure it out, just to hear it. like you say, Cole, just to be with it.
Mhm. Because the whole chapter is really about turning on these other abilities within yourself that you can see with. That the mind wasn't the main character in the movie, but that there is many other receptors in us that are starting to slowly be turned on. You see differently, you really observe. With suddenly you see with something else in you. Okay, even if I say pick a person in a room and then see Christ in them, what is in you that is looking at with you're looking with something else immediately. Something else turns on in you to be able to see that. It's not your eyes. Yeah, and you can feel that, and that intention to see that Christ in the other turns on the Christ within, because it's only the Christ within can see the Christ.
All right, then what about, okay, Scott, you want to say something?
Yeah, and you know, like my usual subject is that, like, one day, for some reason, you know, I don't even know I was so passionate about this feeling world, but suddenly there was a new eyes in there too. Like I could see with my feelings, and I could not comprehend, like, how is that possible? One can see with feelings, because with seeing with thoughts and eyes, but suddenly the feeling realm began to bring in information I had no idea existed. So I not only see, like he often talks about seeing with the eyes of the heart, but I see also with the eyes of wholeheartedness, which just really sometimes completely dislodges the mind from its fixed position and releases into the heart. Unexpectedly, suddenly, I'm talking to a friend, and next minute we are swimming in unity. Yeah. Like something else switches on, and yeah. So it becomes a second nature, becomes like a daily bread, daily occurrence. It's not something special. It becomes the normal way of being.
Does the mind release into the heart, or does the heart release into the mind?
Yes. You can never really figure out which one in that moment. Something else turns on, and we're in awe. That's where I go. I don't even go, which one was it? I go into more like, my usual fuck. It's like, fuck, what's this now?
It's the unity of both.
Yeah, it's like, shit. I'm seeing with something else, like, my God. And the heat that happens, like the body begins to speed up, and just all sorts of unexpected things begin to happen, like this, all sorts of vibrations and like he talks about the auras and things, like they're not trippy. It's really tangible, and it's happening just by reading it. We're reading these materials, and we don't even know what these words are speaking to at this point. But they're speaking to part of us that's not fully, might not be fully aware of. It's in us. And we're magnificent beings.
Well, I had a new experience this morning. I feel like it was a new experience because there was an acceptance in me about it, where my mum was talking about something that's going on. There's riots in Britain at the moment. And I just had a moment of realizing that, this is a projection of what I've got going on in my mind, and somehow like an acceptance of that yeah, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it, but I just had an acceptance of it instead of starting to think about it. And,
Yes.
but for me, that was quite a big thing because normally I'll reject the idea or I'll try to work it all out.
Yes.
But I am sort of feeling like there's all this work we're doing, and I keep expecting to see more of the good stuff. I suppose I do see more of the good stuff. I keep hoping to see less of the uncomfortable stuff, I suppose.
Well, when you turn the news on, you definitely can expect the unexpected.
I don't turn the news on.
Yeah, it's like where we focus.
Yeah.
Decide
Well,
to
Alison,
dive into the conspiracy theories, and you will be going on a long. There's a long journey that way, you know. And or you can just open this and keep going. You know, seeing your brother as whole rather than an asshole, and there's a big difference right there.
when Alison was talking about the earache, I got thinking about pain just sort of isolates us and makes us feel
Yes.
it's like it's hard to, like something I'm in my mind and I can't be in any spiritual sense. And maybe this is just another way of learning. There are others out there who are also in pain.
Mm-hmm.
Now I understand, how do you reach people who are also in pain?
Mm-hmm.
It's a spirit, and that's unity, or this is seeing them.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I've been staying with my mum this week because she's had a health crisis, and there was one night where I went into her room and she was obviously in pain, and yeah, there was just like I felt actually helpless. There was nothing I could do for her. There's nothing I could do, and I just kept thinking, surely with all this work I've done, with all the reading I've done, different things, there's something I can do, and there wasn't anything I could do except just go back to my room
but just to be aware of it. It's like, I guess I'm thinking there are other people in emotional and spiritual pain. How do we connect?
Yes.
Very difficult to see past that, isn't it?
What's that?
It's so difficult to see past what's in front of us, like the pain or whatever. I like to see past it seems impossible to me.
Yeah.
To observe what's really there as opposed to what we perceive. Yeah.
Can go to that very old George Carlin thing, but it's my stuff. Like, I want to hold on to it. It's my stuff. He was talking about stuff, but pain and suffering is individualized and collective too.
So maybe the first step is just more awareness.
Yeah.
What are we really feeling or thinking?
You were there for your mom, Alison.
Yeah, I mean, I did like it's certainly it does help her just the fact I'm there, but it's an interesting process seeing her because she said to me the other day, everything I've had and relied on all my life has been taken away from me. Like I can hardly see anything and I can't hear much and I'm in pain. I can't get comfortable in bed. I can't get comfortable out of bed. Like just everything. And she was aware that she needed to just do the whatever spiritual practice she does. I mean, I don't even know. But she said as soon as I stop doing the spiritual practice, I get these random thoughts, just random chaotic thoughts. So she's been doing a lot of, her own type of meditation and mantras and whatever else. She's slowly getting better, but it's, yeah.
lot of fear there.
Yeah. Really. I mean, I've had moments of, looking into the future and wondering, is it going to be tonight? And she might be here for another few years for all I know.
Mm.
There's no point. It's just now. Yesterday I had a moment of I took her to an appointment, but I've been spending most of my time with her and hardly getting home. And I got there and we're waiting in the waiting room, and I just started crying. I couldn't stop. And but I felt so much better afterwards. Like I just got back. The crying was about the future and the past. And if I can just be present with the situation, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's not what I want it to be, maybe, if I think about it, but it's fine.
That's the crux of it, isn't it? We always want it to be different. And then we suffer. It's serious.
Mm.
Well, I used to volunteer respite for family members with people in hospice, and at one point I learned, God, what an honor it is for somebody who's in such pain or at the end of their life or just in a difficult position, for you to be there. If I do kind of look at the bigger picture, like when I'm able to look at the bigger picture and see what an honor that person has bestowed on me. Like, I know for a lot of us, saying I need help or I'm in pain or this sucks or whatever is really difficult. And so for you to be there for her in that time is really, I don't know, is a chosen wonderful situation for, both of you, even though it's hard. I don't know.
Yeah. Death of parents is a strange one because they've always been there.
Mm.
And she might still be here in a year. I don't know.
Right.
Shall we embark on chapter 3, see where Jesus takes us with this?
And I wonder, Cole, if you could do the recording straight away.
I'm so sorry about that. I don't even know
that's
how
okay. It actually wasn't too much of a
it's okay.
bother, but it's nice to be able to go in straight away and have another look at it if I want to, like tomorrow.
Rarely it happened, but I don't know how it happened. Just suddenly wasn't there, and I go, okay.
It's fine.
Yes. No.
Okay, well, Ruben, I skipped you. I think you're up for reading if you want to.
Chapter 3.
Yep.
Natural vision. Observation is an extension of the embrace that in turn makes the embrace observable.
Beautiful.
Observation is an extension of the embrace that in turn makes the embrace observable. The embrace is not in action so much as a state of being. Awareness of the embrace comes from the vision of which I have just begun to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Observation and vision are closely linked, but not the same. Observation has to do with the elevation of the personal self. Vision has to do with what cannot be elevated. Vision has to do with a divine pattern, the unity that binds all living things. Observation is the means of seeing this binding pattern in physical form. One more. The personal self is still in need of being elevated to its original nature, by its original nature or intent. That devotion of the observant will return you to your original purpose. The vision of Christ consciousness will take you beyond.
Beautiful.
I'm complete.
Amazing. What an amazing description of the distinction between the vision and observation, eh?
Alison, you're up.
Yep. Original intent. Original intent has everything to do with the nature of things. For original intent is synonymous with cause. The original intent of this chosen experience was the expression of the self of love in observable form. This original intent or cause formed the true nature of the personal self, capable of being observed in relationship. This original intent or cause formed the true nature of the personal self, capable of being observed in relationship. The displacement of the original intent, while it did not change the original cause, formed a false nature for the personal self. I can't read this. Someone else is going to have to read. Can someone start from 3-4?
Kim?
Original intent has everything to do with the nature of things. For original intent is synonymous with cause. The original intent of this chosen experience was the expression of the self of love in observable form. This original intent or cause formed the true nature of the personal self, capable of being observed in relationship. The displacement of the original intent, while it did not change the original cause, formed a false nature for the personal self. This displacement of the original intent can be simply stated as the displacement of love with fear. It is as simple as that. Yet the way in which each of you have interpreted this displacement has come to seem quite complex. You may not feel that you have ever intended to live in fear, but the displacement of the original intent was so complete that each life has begun with fear and proceeded from this beginning, continually reacting to fear. While the original intent remained within you and caused you to attempt to express a self of love despite your fear, fear has thwarted your every effort and caused the very effort that has continued the cycle of fear. Oh my God. To have to try to be who you are and to express who you are is the result of the displacement, nature of love with the nature of fear. What we now are about is reversing this displacement and returning you to your true nature. Oh, that's my 2 paras. Oh, I'm really I'm really feeling that fear today. Like, it's not usually there, so I'm a bit surprised. Yeah.
Shall we maybe leave it for now? Because it does feel like it's been really quite massive.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna reread the chapter to myself just to let it sink in deeper. Because I think it's like a misunderstood word. If you have too much, you just can't put anything on, and it's been really big.
Yeah.
So let's maybe we're just allowed to let it sink in what's already occurred. Okay, so okay with that?
Yeah.
And then we start with the vision next week.
From the beginning, yes.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a potential for a huge release of old stuff with this chapter. And yeah, I've been wondering, Cole, if like, not because of last week's recording, but that if it could just be put up. I don't know if you have time to put up the recording straight after the group, and
I can do that.
Yeah, because it's nice to be able to go through it during the week. Like, I sometimes listen to the recording several times during the week if
it will
it's
be there. I will make sure.
Thank you. It's really helpful. I find it really helpful sometimes if I can't read.
Awesome. Beautiful.
Yeah, I'm grateful for it.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you, guys. So beautiful.
Thank you.
Ding.
Have a lovely week, everyone.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Ciao. Thank you.
Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.